This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
I guess it's our turn. Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Yeah, here we go. Your dial's set correctly to USAPrepares.com. And we're delighted that you are here. We're broadcasting at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Information's on the website. We're in Studio A. And, I'd like to take a minute to thank our affiliates. We have, of course, Genesis Communications Network. We're broadcasting live. Genesis is producing the broadcast from Minnesota. And I'd like to thank some of our affiliates. KUNQ, 99.3, Big Country. Big Country 99, the Rooster. They carry our broadcast from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. at night. And KYAH, AM 540 in Utah. WBCR, AM 1470, Tennessee. KLID, AM 1340, Missouri. And then Galaxy 19, satellite communications. And EU Telsat. Hotbird 13A, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Russia, and Liberty News. So those are ways you can certainly listen to us, and you can listen to us on the internet. Just go to USAPREPARES.com, and you can listen live. You can even listen on your smartphone, and the number's right there on the website if you'd like to do that. Converging threats are confronted daily by your instructors. I'm Vincent Finelli. There are close to 200 of us now here at USAPrepares.com, and we have various areas of specialty. We are doctors, medical doctors. We are researchers. We are physicists, broadcasters, engineers, surgeons. None of us is capable of holding down a job. Shayne is producing the broadcast at Genesis Communications, and Frank Underhill's with us. Welcome, Frank.
Good morning, Vincent. Glad to be here, trying to stay cool in the scorching summer weather we've been having.
Yeah. Frank, I've been kind of following the weather in Nevada. Man, oh man, unusually hot, extra hot.
We have a big forest fire raging north of here at Mount Charleston as well, too.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, there's a big forest fire in the valley just behind Mount Charleston, and the air quality, before I never paid any attention to it, like I've seen smoke come in from California wildfires, but to have smoke coming this close to the city from like 40, 50 miles away, you can sort of feel the bad air quality in your breathing.
Yeah. We've had fires when we were in Virginia, and we've had some here in Missouri, and it's quite scary because there's no place to go to get out of the smoke. I mean, you can go inside, but it still comes inside. So yeah, pretty serious. And we take for granted air quality. We just assume it's there and everything's going to be fine. That is not the case. There have been train derailments and huge, horrific fires as a result. There have been train derailments, and chlorine gas has been released into the air, and it's toxic, and towns have been evacuated. We just assume everything's going to be fine, and it is not the case. It's just not the case. So that's what this broadcast is all about: keeping us aware of what could happen, what might happen, and what to do about it. And that's why we have the Get Prepared Expo. And class, by the way, the Get Prepared Expo is in 2 weeks, July 19, 20, and 21. And one of the things I'd like to ask our class today is, Frank and I are going to be talking about some of the some of the schedule at the Get Prepared Expo, some of the seminars that we're going to be having. And I'd like to know from you, what would you like us to present at the Get Prepared Expo? We have 52 seminars now. I've cut it back from 83 that we had in April 6th and 7th. I brought it down to from 83 down to 52. But I'd really like to know, and I know Frank would like to know, what kind of topics you are interested in addition to the ones that we have. What have we overlooked? And here's why I say that. If you've noticed that there is a linkage between the Get Prepared Expo and the faculty of the Get Prepared Expo and USAPrepares.com and the faculty, it's the same faculty. Okay, so if you'd like to hear a seminar at the expo, that same instructor will probably be on the air with us. So is there a topic that you'd like to hear? Are there topics that you'd like to hear? Are there subjects that you'd like to know more about? Are there people you'd like us to introduce on the air? If so, please give us a call, okay, at USAPrepares.com. So, Frank, the fire is pretty serious, absolutely. And what do you think's going on with oil right now? What are your thoughts?
Oil, I think, is probably the most underrated story out there right now. When you look at what happened in Egypt and how oil can be over $100 a barrel on that kind of news, it just shows you how dependent we are on the Suez Canal there, and of course who has control over it is Egypt. So even not even a oil insecurity or oil shortage, but an insecurity on the transportation of oil can really affect prices. And here at the pump, I go to Smith's, and gas is like $3.50 a gallon right now for unleaded. Mm-hmm. It was like $3.40 a couple weeks ago. But when you have this uncertainty over there, and I believe, I'm not sure, but I think if OPEC is an oil OPEC nation, if Egypt's an OPEC nation, well then there could probably even be higher oil prices down the line, because all these OPEC countries have to move their crude to Western markets through the Suez Canal, and I think inadvertently we're the ones going to be paying for it here. And even though countries like Canada and the UK are not members of OPEC, they abide by the OPEC quotas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was thinking about what's happening in Egypt, and the Middle East is in turmoil and has been for quite a while. And I was listening to Genesis Communications Network over the weekend. We have a satellite receiver that we purchased from Rick Kaler. He's one of our instructors. It's Rick's satellite, and he shipped it to me, and I installed it. And I just love having the ability to just turn on Genesis Communications Network and listen throughout the farmhouse. In several rooms we have speakers, and I was listening to the news, and I was thinking that why John McCain, why is he saying that we can't stand by and do nothing? Oh, really? We can't stand by and do nothing? Since when do we have to stick our nose everywhere? But that's what he said. That's what he said this weekend. So oil prices are up. And, whenever there's saber rattling, there's the oil prices go up, and they go up very quickly. And that's what we're seeing. That's a problem for me. That's a problem for me, because I was thinking that, as we get closer to August, that's when I try to buy oil for the farm. I'm talking about fuel oil, diesel, farm fuel, red diesel. And typically the lowest price of the year is when nobody wants oil, and that's when I try to stock up for the farm and buy it for a year or two at a time. But who knows? These price swings are going to hurt the farmers. They really are. And of course, that's just the beginning.
Everybody. And you're
that's what I mean. That's just
groceries.
That's what I mean. That's just the beginning. It starts with farming and transportation, and the consumer is going to pay for it, and the consumer, of course, is going to pay for higher prices for fuel too. So I don't like it. I really don't. I was thinking about John Kerry, Secretary of State. His wife has taken ill, and she was flown to the hospital with a seizure. And I'm wondering, I so distrust everything that's happening. Everything that's happening, I distrust it, and I look for the ulterior motives, and why are these things happening? So his wife is sick now. Could that be that, as Bob Dylan had said in one of his songs, that that's the heart attack machine where they induce these things to make us do things that we might not ordinarily do or distract us? And I'm wondering, did somebody do that to her to distract John Kerry from something he might have been planning to do as Secretary of State for the United States of America, relating to Egypt and oil? Interesting, huh? What do you think, Frank? Well,
especially since she's an influential person in the world worth, she sold her company for, billions and billions of dollars, and I guess maybe convenient would be the word.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Frank, when we look at resources, your customers are calling you, and are they concerned about the price of metals? What are they saying? What are their thoughts?
Well, to a degree, but, and again, I've yet to see a large exodus from it. But also, too, when metals were at their all-time highs, no one was in a quick exodus to get out up there either. And generally, people buy these, for duration, yeah, on the speculation that, in the end, they will be higher. Now, you're seeing gold having these large volume swings, price swings, every day, up 20, down 20, up 30, down 20. And it brings me to say that there are a lot of players and speculators in and out of this metals market. And a large part of it, why it's down, of course, is because of the dollar. When you have the dollar very high right now, sure, there's going to be anti-gold sentiment out there. And when you have the dollar like knocking on 85, that hasn't been up there for a very long time. But I do believe that the trend is your friend, and you're starting to see gold get some traction here.
Yeah, Bob Chapman said that would happen. Bob Chapman said we would have wild price swings in gold. And we have. Frank Underhill, CEO, UnderhillSecurities.com. UnderhillSecurities.com. We'll be right back. Frank Underhill's with us, and we're talking about the economy, survival economics. And, Frank, we've got a post on the website about the Chinese buyers are bringing big money into the U.S. housing market. So if you go to usapreparedness.com, you'll be able to see this post. And here's some of the highlights. That four states in the United States account for about 50% of all foreign home sales. Now, Florida accounts for 23% of the sales. California, 17%. Arizona, 9%. And Texas, 9%. Now, more than half of the homes sold to foreigners in California are to Chinese nationals. The median home price for foreign home buyers is $276,000 per home. And the median price that the Chinese are paying is $425,000. Now, as I look at this, Frank, it's the same thing that happened in Japan. Back in the 80s, a lot of Japanese money was coming into the United States, and the Japanese were buying businesses, buildings, and real estate. They bought a lot of Hawaii. And the reason, people would say, well, why are they doing that? And it's really kind of simple. It's really, really simple if you look at it. Here are my thoughts. So we take U.S. Federal Reserve notes and we buy stuff from China. You go to the Chinese factory outlet, some people call that Walmart, you buy things. And if they're produced in China, if the goods are produced in China, the electronics, the cameras, the digital devices, the DVRs, the televisions, all these things that we buy, telephones, all these things that we buy that come from China, we get their stuff, they get our dollars. Now, at some point, they've got to say, now, what are we going to do with these dollars? What are they good for? Well, what actually do we make? Can they buy stuff from us? What would that be? What would they buy from us? I'm having a tough time trying to think of something that we might build that's better than what they make for themselves. You know, if they wanted a limousine, okay, so they might want to buy that. If they wanted to buy some very large earth-moving equipment, okay, so they might want to buy that. But they've got their own bulldozer manufacturing companies. They've got their earth-moving equipment companies. They've got electronics. What actually do we have? The only thing I can think of is businesses and real estate. And that's what they're using their money for. What do you think, Frank?
Vincent, I think it's more systemic than even what you're alluding to. When I lived in Vancouver, the same thing happened. And they deposit their children in the school system. They deposit their aged parents in nursing homes. They deposit their money in various institutions for a Asian invasion, if you will. The same thing is happening here. Why do they need to buy homes to live in? With all this, with immigration reform going on and legalization and real estate buying spree, it all adds up to a race to the bottom. In labor, they're willing to take a lot less of a dollar per hour than what somebody here would. They would even undercut minority labor as well. They don't care as long as they have the job. They'll work for $1 an hour. So what you're seeing is a long-term systemic event that will forever alter this country. And then, of course, when you bring in different cultures, different religions, then it goes into bringing in different laws, different elected people, different. So this country is on a very, very rapid pace to a different way, because a lot of American government people, business people, have no confidence in ourselves, so we need to bring in outside talent to turn things around. And I just want to pick up again on this after the break as well, too.
Yeah, let's
just give me 2 minutes.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that, Frank. And I'd like to talk about dust masks, Chinese dust masks. Frank Underhill, Vin Finelli, USAPreparedness.com. We'll be right back. Frank Underhill's with us. And Frank, we were talking about China, and you wanted to continue?
I would like to. People with, and we got into this through real estate and buying up land. You're having BlackRock buying up billions and billions of dollars in real estate as well, too. Mm-hmm. So, Chinese aren't the only ones in this game. They are, too. So what you're seeing is now under this new Immigration Act, say if you're from Canada, and I follow it closely, if you wanted to come to the States, a Canadian can only spend 6 months of the year legally in the States. When they come here, they've extended that from 6 months to 8 months. And if you're from Canada, over 65 or retired, and you have assets of $500,000 or more in the United States, then you're exempt from those kind of provisions. You can stay as long as you want. So there is a big globalization going here, literally. And when you
Frank,
have
let's talk about those. Let's talk about the amount of those assets again. Could you please say that one more time?
If a Canadian has $500,000 or more and retired, they can stay in the States as long as they want.
Does that mean in a U.S. bank, or does that mean Canadian assets?
A house, a real estate. It could be a real estate, or it could be a house. I tried to follow it up more closely, and if any of your listeners want to prove me different, or educate me more, try to find that. But I saw that on Bloomberg Business, I believe.
Okay, so half $500,000 in assets.
Yeah, which really is not a lot of money. When you look at it,
not today, it's not.
No, so, but we are going through a globalization in this country, and what's going to happen is Americans with low savings rates, low values, when you're having this influx of this new money coming in. It's just going to put more pressure on our society.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is that, okay, so you have $500,000 worth of real estate. If you're Canadian, you can bring in your family, and then you can take advantage
I don't know if it's
of
the
some
family.
of the...
I think it goes to the homeowner. You got to be retired.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess what you're saying is with immigration, we are going to extra burden the system with demands on it, health care, schools, and so forth. Expensive.
Precisely.
Expensive cost. Yeah. Frank, I mentioned dust masks. And, as a farmer, we use a lot of dust masks. We're out in the fields and we do hay and so forth. So some of the environments that we find ourselves in are quite dusty. And if you buy these boxes of 100 or so dust masks, most of them come from China. And they don't fit our faces. Our faces are shaped differently. Now, they are making these dust masks, and obviously they don't care that they don't fit Americans. But I'm sure they fit the Chinese because their faces are shaped differently. So just a thought that... We're selling products in this country that a lot of us can't use. Now, I'm sure a dust mask that would fit a Chinese adult would fit a U.S. child. Okay, but it's tough to get one to fit me. That's Chinese, and the quality is so inferior. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. So there's still a lot of Chinese junk that's being sold in this country, and I really wish we could compete. I wish we could. I wish we could make them.
Vincent. Yeah, I see peril, and I see that as long as you have legislators that are pushing this agenda, and I just want to say, I'm an immigrant myself, but I did it the legal way, the proper way. Believe me, for your listeners, the system is not broken. For what somebody has to go through to have the privilege of being here, those protocols are in place. But what they are doing is putting a big for sale sign. If you look at movies, especially these science fiction movies, I saw Superman. It's like, the villain wanted to bring Krypton to Earth. In the Transformers movies, they want to bring Cybertron to Earth. In all these other movies, they want to bring something to Earth. Well, what America is doing is bringing this big, humongous, giant country that can overwhelm over here. There are memes and messages in Hollywood. And Vincent, and your listeners, I'm not a crazy person. I'm not a conspiracist person, but I study into what I see. And there's certainly a prima facie agenda there.
Well, I can't disagree. Frank, I was looking at some of the posts on the internet over the weekend, and I've got one that I said I didn't know makeup was that powerful. There's a picture of Ellen DeGeneres without makeup. She's 55 years old. Oh my gosh! If you looked at this person, this picture looks like she's 75. Literally, wrinkles in her neck, her face is all scrunched up, wrinkles, eyes around her mouth. She looks absolutely less than beautiful. That's for sure. And and then they apply makeup to her, and she's transformed into a 40-year-old. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I just wanted to share that Mrs. Finelli does not wear makeup at all. So I saw this. I couldn't believe it. So I had to post it on the website. And I'd like to share my thanks to Ed Marvini. Ed Marvini is a USAPrepares.com instructor. He listened to us on the air quite a while ago, and he decided we needed a new website. So he built it. He took it upon himself, built it, and then trained me how to use it. And over the weekend, he made some modifications. And one of the things that he put on page 1 in the upper right-hand corner, it says, featured in USA Prepares Radio Instructor. And it says this week's instructors: Monday, Frank Underhill; Tuesday, Dr. Patrick Vickers; Wednesday, Dr. Norman Shealy; Thursday, Dr. Rick Miller; and then Friday, Jeff Holmes. So if you want to know going forward what the schedule is, class, upper right-hand corner, page number 1. So I wanted to thank Ed Marvini. And also, we've updated the expo on the website. So if you want to know about the seminars and the exhibitors, the latest list is right there. Now, bear in mind that the seminar schedule is fluid. It's fluid all the way until the day before the expo. It keeps changing. And I really wanted to limit the number of expos. I really did, to about 3 at a time. Can't do it. It looks like we're going to have four at a time. And, Frank, we've got Mike from Tennessee. Mike from Tennessee, you wanted to talk about survival economics with Frank Underhill?
Yes, sir. Good morning. And if I could add something as a suggestion for your website, you have a tremendous resource of information daily. And if people had the ability to go to your website and have the ability to search your archive section from GCN or wherever, and if you could list them so that people could put in a search a subject or a guest, and it would pull up all of those, that would give people direct access to all this information. They could go listen to the podcast over and over. And I think that if that's possible, that would be a benefit for a lot of listeners.
Okay, let me make sure I've got this right. So, Mike, are you saying that you'd like the podcast to have a title with the instructor's name and maybe 3 or 4 keywords about the subject of that podcast?
Exactly. So it's searchable so that, and I refer people to your show all the time. And I tell them, go listen to GCN, click on the archives, and listen to the first hour or the second hour if I'm trying to send them to a specific thing, because so many people are so busy, they're not going to go listen to multiple days looking for one tidbit of facts. And you know, I'm trying to steer them straight to these nuggets of gold and get them the information that they need, and that would benefit them and people like myself who are trying to refer people to these sources.
Okay, I will work on that. That's one of the things I'd really like to do. I appreciate that suggestion. What I have to do in order to accomplish that is post those. Genesis does not do that, so they've got the archives, but there is no descriptor that attaches to it. So what I'd have to do is copy those or download those archives, put them on our website, and then add to that the descriptor and index it. I suppose I could do that, and after the expo, I'll have a little bit of time to do that. And one of the things I was thinking about, Mike and Frank, is instead of doing 3 expos a year, I've been in discussions with people who want to do absolutely like the equivalent of the Computer Electronics Show's event, once a year expo. It would be just absolutely huge, maybe 30,000 people at a time. So, that would also free me up to do the kinds of things that I'd like to do in addition to, designing and managing the expo, which really, it's unbelievable how much time it takes to put together the expo, getting everybody together, the instructors and the seminars and so forth. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I would like to do it. So I will work on that. I will.
And if I can go on into the reason I called, I was listening to your discussion about the state of the fiscal condition of our country, and as bankrupt as it is, and China. And the fact is that the Federal Reserve, as we all know, is spending, $85 billion a month, short of $1 trillion a month, buying up mortgage-backed securities and investments. I don't know, but I believe this international corporation, the Federal Reserve, that's posing as a government agency, is basically liquidating the assets of this country right before our eyes with phony money that they're creating out of thin air.
Mike, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Frank Underhill, Mike from Tennessee. I'm Vin Finelli. We'll be right back. Class, I just wanted to report something on. I just posted on the website during the break. Ed Marvini, usersite.com, usersight.com, made the tools available for me to be able to do these things. Thank you so much, Ed. Ed's one of our instructors. He was a student, and he was a listener, and he was in class, and he decided I needed a website, so he built some tools and sent them on my way. I really appreciate it. He's been to the expo, and he's been on the radio with us. So thank you very much, Ed Marvini of UserSite. Link on the website, page 1, if you'd like to contact him. Class, more than 60% of dishwashers contain potentially harmful fungi, and it can cause lung problems and skin infections. So I just wanted to let you know that is that's a problem, and you may want to pay attention to that. And what we do here at the farm is we will put a small amount of pure chlorine bleach, without the scent, without the lemon scent or whatever other scents they add to chlorine bleach. Put maybe a tablespoon in our dishwasher and run the dishwasher with nothing in it other than the chlorine bleach, and let it set. Of course, you want to have your windows open when you do that. You do not want to do it in the winter, and that will help kill the bacteria and the fungus within your dishwasher. Just wanted to share that with you. A lot of the dishwashers have these plastic tubs, and they are not smooth like a porcelain tub that would resist fungus attaching to it. So just wanted to let you know, there's a post on the website about that. Frank Underhill's with us, and Mike from Tennessee. You were talking about the Fed buying debt. Mike, go ahead.
Correct. Yeah, I'm quite concerned right now. I see the numbers of industries and land and buildings that are being acquired by China. They're converting these worthless pieces of paper called Federal Reserve notes into tangible assets. And let me throw out a wild conspiracy theory, but let's say you had the ability to control the weather, and let's say you could steer a hurricane into a major metropolitan area where 90% of the people don't own, they have a mortgage. Let's say a place like New Orleans, for instance, just to throw out a city, and you run it in there and you destroy the infrastructure, and the people are displaced for months, and because they don't have jobs, they can't pay their mortgages, boom, it triggers default. The banks take back the loans, they sell them at auction, and if you're the Federal Reserve and you're the holder of the securitized debt to this country of China, and they want to liquidate those Federal Reserve notes, well, here, China, we can give you land for those Federal Reserve notes. And without firing a shot, China can move in, take over entire communities throughout this country, and with this pathway to citizenship, because they come in as workers, because they're all going to have jobs, because they're displacing we the people that no longer have jobs, voila. You change the culture of this country overnight to a culture of people where life has no value.
Mike,
morality.
there are a few people that would say that's conspiracy theory, and then there are the rest of us that would say, sounds like reality to me.
Just a thought.
Well, Mike, it's way more than a thought. I mean, I know you're I know you're being very conservative in your approach, but it sounds like it's way more than a thought. It really sounds like reality to me. It sounds like, I believe that wealth is being confiscated from us, the hardworking people, toward those who have not worked very hard for it. I know a guy who was an investment banker in New York. Now, this guy couldn't change his own oil, but he could leverage multi-million dollar buyouts, probably even approaching the $1 billion level. And he didn't know anything, but he certainly knew how to manipulate. That's the problem. That really is the problem.
Yeah, I think these people are spoke of in the Bible. And I won't get into that too far, but if you know what I'm talking about, yeah, they can't produce anything, but they can manipulate and contrive and control through deception.
Mike, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And Mike, you're going to be on the air with us. We're going to have you on as an instructor. So I'm looking forward to that. Mike from Tennessee, thanks so much. Frank Underhill's with us. Frank's going to return on the other side of this break, top of the hour news. We're going to talk about silver. And we're going to talk about the jobless recovery. I just don't see it. Vin Finelli, USAPrepares.com. Please, don't touch that dial. Everyone all set, cocked, locked. This is hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Frank Underhill's with us, UnderhillSecurities.com. He's the CEO of UnderhillSecurities.com. Frank, I just got off the phone with a precious metals dealer during the top of the hour news, and he said that prices are coming down, or the premiums are coming down on precious metals, physical gold and physical silver right now, and that's a good sign. So the premiums are coming down, and that the supplies are still somewhat limited for small fractional gold. That means 1/25th of an ounce, 1/20th, and 1/10th. So while the premiums are coming down, the supplies are still limited for the fractional gold coins. So I just wanted to share that with our class. Frank, I have received calls from people who are interested in buying precious metals. This is not scaring them at all, the precious metals prices, that it's come down and down and down, and gold is, let's say, had it here. Gold at the start of the broadcast was $1231.90, and silver was at 19.09. These low numbers are not scaring people away from buying, and they actually want to buy. So I think that's the right thing to do. I really do. It may come down again, but, even though I have lost an enormous percentage on paper, I still sleep fine at night. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that earlier in the program we talked about the dollar, but these metals have seemed to have found their footing here. And as for the dealer you spoke to, I think he might be talking a little bit too prematurely about lowering premiums, because when this market does come around, he might be caught. What's your take on that? But I think that in the bottom of any market or any consolidation, people do drastic things, and when they do turn around these metals, they do tend to move up very quickly in such a very short period of time. And that's why even down here I haven't given up on or capitulated on these kind of holdings.
Well, since we've been broadcasting today, an hour ago, the price of gold spot $1231.90, and an hour later it's $1236.10. So it's moving up. And silver was at 19.09, and now it's just a little bit higher, 3 cents higher at 19.12. But those are small moves, and silver and gold is I don't look at this as something that you make money with. I look at this as you convert your Federal Reserve digits into precious metals, and once you get past the shock, and class, I really mean this as a shock. Once you get past the shock of, let's say you have your savings at $100,000 or $200,000 or $400,000, and you look at your statements every month and you go, wow, yeah, these are nice numbers. These are nice numbers, and you convert that. And let's say you sell half of it, or you convert half of it into gold, and silver. And then now you're looking at like 200 instead of 400,000 in your account, or 50,000 instead of 100,000. It's a shock when you first do that. But after you get past that, 6 months later, 4 months later, you go, wow, what a relief. What an absolute relief, because, now I feel secure. And you don't worry about the bank shutting down, or your digits getting lost, or you having to go fight for your deposits. You don't have to worry about it, because the assumption is that you control that, because you've now moved it to a location that's under your control. That's what we advocate. If you can't hold it, it's hard to say that you own it if you can't hold it. And there's a guy on the radio, Frank, I believe I've mentioned this. He advocates buying silver through an organization. And what they do is you have withdrawn from your paycheck X amount, let's say $25 a week or $50 a week, and that's accumulated in a fund. And then when they feel like it's time to buy silver, they will buy silver for you, and they will store it at an off-site location from you. So your silver, assuming you actually own it, is at another location, and to keep it safe. And they store it for you, and they charge you to store it for you. And then if you want it, they charge you a transaction to get it out of storage, and they charge you to ship it back to you, or ship it to you. It's unbelievable. Why not just go and buy it? What do you think, Frank?
There's always ways to make fees off these kind of gimmicks, basically. But I guess if they're doing the buying and collecting of proceeds and holding it in safekeeping for you, if that's a service people want and they don't mind paying for it, then so be it. But just like you just said, just buy it and keep it yourself.
What's so hard about buying silver and learning how it works and physically holding on to it? The people who buy some of this paper silver, they're buying it because they're trusting somebody they haven't even met. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine calling somebody that you don't know, haven't met, and saying, listen, I really need your advice because you're an expert and I really trust you. I have no idea where you are. I see on the internet that you've got this location, but I don't know you, but I really trust you. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think the way to do it is to physically go buy it, put it in your hand, pay for it, take it home, and put it wherever you think it's safe and control.
Actually, on the local news here last night, I think somebody was doing just that, again from Asia, selling notes in copper and metals, and she didn't want to talk about it because this person wasn't a member of this investment exchange or whatnot. So she took the news. You can watch it on KVBC or ABC News locally here. I don't recall which one, but she took basically 500 investors for $7 million. And the Postal Inspector General caught on to her.
So what you're talking about is the kind of scheme that I've been alluding to, that people are trusting people I don't even know.
You just mentioned it because I saw it last night on the evening news, on local news.
Well, I'm not interested in that. I remember when I lived in Virginia, Frank, I would get these calls from these brokers, stockbrokers, and they'd say, listen, I just want to let you know that I've got a really hot tip for you. And I'd go, So who are you? And they tell me their name, and they say, look, I got your name from someone close to you. Actually, where'd you get my name? Well, I don't have it in front of me, but I got your name. And, they would not be able to say, Joe Dokes, your buddy. They couldn't name somebody. They're just calling, dialing for dollars. And they would tell me that they've got this hot tip, and it's going to make me a fortune, and I'm going to do really well. And I'd always say the same thing. So how old are you? I'm 27. Okay. So you're 27. I don't know you. You've never been through a depression. You have no idea what hard times are like. And you expect me to turn my money over to you. I don't know you. You don't know me. Are you kidding? And they finally say, thanks so much. Bye. There are so many schemes, and there's so many people that I guess will fall for this nonsense. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Frank, it's simple. Buy it, pay cash, take delivery. That's Max's law. Buy the best, pay cash, take delivery. If you do all those things, you'll probably do okay. And if you violate any one of those, if you don't buy the best, if you buy the worst, you'll be unhappy. If you don't take delivery, you don't own it. And if you don't pay cash, you haven't settled your account. So buy the best, pay cash, take delivery. Great set of rules to follow. I try to follow them all the time. And talking about cash, Frank, I'm switching to more and more and more cash. I want to get away from these credit cards because they are tracking our every single move. And I object to it. I absolutely object. And you use cash all the time, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have no credit cards.
Yeah, I remember we went out to lunch in Nevada, and you paid cash.
I pay cash for everything. I don't want any statements. I don't want any bills generated. I don't want any window mail coming to my home on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm.
And for your listeners, it may sound a little pragmatic, but when you wake up in the morning, your sky is just a little bit bluer, your grass is greener, and it's one less thing you have to worry about.
Yeah, and the purpose of cash, there are a couple purposes as far as I can tell. One of them is anonymity. But people today are conned into thinking if you use cash, there's obviously something wrong. You're trying to hide something. You know, you buy fertilizer from the store.
Well, of course you're trying to hide something when you buy cash. You're hiding from data mining. You're hiding from credit bureau. You don't want these people to know about you.
You're right.
I don't want these people to know about me.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
I was at a 4th of July little get-together, and I met this lady that sells car loans up to $7,500, and she loans money out at 30% interest.
Whoa!
Up to $7,500 to buy a used car on Boulder Highway here.
Wait a minute, 30% interest? That's criminal.
Yep. She said it like it was having breakfast in the morning. Couldn't believe it.
Let me see if I've got this right. So if somebody wants to buy a used car, they want to buy a used car because they can't afford a new car probably, and they need to borrow money to do it, and she's going to rip them off at 30%? Is that what you're saying?
That blank, yeah.
Wow. Frank Underhill, Vin Finelli, USAPrepares.com. We'll talk about precious metals, gold, silver, and what's happening in the markets. We'll be right back. Class, during that commercial break, you heard the commercial for the Get Prepared Expo. The Get Prepared Expo is the largest preparedness expo in the country. And that's measured by the number of seminars and attendees and exhibits that we have. And the reason I do this broadcast is because I'm very concerned about the country. I'm very concerned about where we're going. I'm very concerned about people surviving and getting through the other side of this. I'm concerned that if people don't have the things that they need, they will need to take them. They will need to take them, and they'll need to take them from wherever they can find them. So the scenario is very simple. The young, and I've said this many times, the young mother says to the young father, look, can't you hear her screaming? She hasn't eaten. She's starving. Go get some formula. Do something. So he goes out. The power's been out for days. And there are people walking around the streets, and either the windows to the stores have been broken, or he's looking at the store and he's saying, you know what, I got to get that formula. There's no way I'm going to go back to that, to our crying child who hasn't eaten. I'm going to have to do something. So either the window's broken and he climbs through the window and he gets the formula from the store, or he breaks the window, or he gets the formula from wherever he can. I believe chaos will ensue should there be a grid down situation, should there be a supply chain disruption, should there be a massive storm. We've seen it over and over again. This is not speculation. This is just looking at history and saying, yeah, it's going to repeat itself. So that's why we have this expo. And that's why we teach this class, because we want to get people prepared. Now, during the commercial, I said that we have a lot of well-known people who will be at the expo, and I just want to drop a few names. Dr. Norman Shealy will be at the expo, and he will be taking blood pressure measurements, and he will help people, if they want, with a food supplement to see if he can reduce their blood pressure and get them off the drugs that they are on. I've taken his advice. It works for me. It works for my mom. It works for Mrs. Finelli. I even had a chicken who was dying, and I gave this food supplement to this chicken, and the chicken turned around, and the chicken's fine. We have a cat who was dying. Cat's fine. Just with a very, very dilute supplement of food. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Dr. Joel Wallach will be with us. And by the way, all of these people will be doing multiple seminars. So Norm Shealy is going to be doing 2 seminars. Dr. Joel Wallach will be with us at the expo. That's July 19, 20, and 21. 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks. Dr. Joel Wallach will be doing 2 seminars on health and nutrition. I take his supplements. They absolutely work. There's no question about it. So does my mom. So does Mrs. Finelli. So do our children. So do our dogs. Sheriff Richard Mack will be with us. He'll be staying at the farm. And he'll be talking about the Constitution, and he'll be talking about the sheriff is our first line of defense. The Second Amendment. Joyce Riley. Joyce Riley is a well-known broadcaster right here on Genesis Communications Network. She's going to be with us. She's been to many of our expos, as has been Dr. Joel Wallach and Dr. Norman Shealy and Sheriff Richard Mack. They've all been to multiple expos. She's going to be talking about when there is no medicine, and she's going to be talking about military experiments. She'll be doing a couple seminars, and she and I and Sam Bushman and Michael Evans are going to be talking, and John Moore are going to be talking about radio, how it works. So if you want to be a broadcaster, if you want to start into broadcasting and learn how it works, we'll teach you some of the secrets. We'll teach you some of the hard knocks that we've learned the hard way. Dr. Richard Allen Miller, he's going to be with us. He broadcasts with us every Thursday. He's going to be talking about mind control. He's going to be talking about food. Food as a weapon. Dr. Patrick Vickers is coming up from Mexico, and he's going to be spending time with us at the farm, and he's going to be doing 2 seminars. Actually, he's going to be doing 4 seminars. He's going to be talking about cancer. He's going to be talking about the technology to treat cancer and the successes that he's had. John Moore is going to be with us. He's going to be talking about violent climate change. He's been predicting it. He's been absolutely correct. Violent climate change is here. Sam Bushman's going to be talking about the media. He who owns the media controls the message. He's absolutely right. The list goes on and on. I'll tell you a little bit more about some of these seminars that we're going to have at the Get Prepared Expo. $10 a day at the door. All the seminars you can stand. If you want to attend all of them, you're going to have to bring a family of 4, and you're each going to have to go to a different seminar. 52 seminars over a 3-day period. Frank Underhill's with us. We'll be right back. Class, Frank and I were talking about why we do the Get Prepared Expo. I've said off the air that I consider this my non-denominational church, the Church of Physical Preparedness. We do not take contributions. We do not pass the plate. We don't ask anybody for anything. If you'd like to come, we'd love to have you. We charge $10 a day at the door, $8 discounted on the website. That's at usaprepares.com. Click on the store tab. And if you can't afford that, we'll let you in for free. You don't have to fill out any forms. All you have to say is, may I have a scholarship, please? And we will let you in. Now, the dress code does apply to everybody, whether it's a scholarship or not. There is a dress code, and you have to look neat. You don't have to be expensively dressed, but you do have to look neat. And so if you can't pay for it, we're delighted to have you. If you can, we're delighted to have you. If you're a teacher, we will let you in for absolutely free, and your spouse and your children. Children under 12 are admitted free all the time anyway. The point is, we want teachers to come to the expo because we believe that they are those who are going to teach the next generation. And if they don't know what to do, and if they don't know how to prepare, and they don't know how to survive, they won't. So, Here's the proof. I just went to the news just during the break, and I mentioned that windows would be broken and there'd be bloodshed if people don't have what they need. Now, in Chicago, over the 4-day weekend, you figure 96 hours over a 4-day weekend, right? 55 people were wounded, 10 were killed. That's more than one person every 2 hours shot. It's out of control. Absolutely out of control. So if you don't think it's going to happen, it's already here. It's already here. The violence is here. I talked to a man over the weekend who commutes to Chicago from the East Coast. He flies in, spends all week there, and flies back. I don't know how he does it. But he has a job, and his job is in Chicago. And it's a good job. He is in charge of a number of people that are in the computer arena. They build computer systems for large companies. So he goes to Chicago from the East Coast. He said he has been in some dangerous situations. So it's getting worse. It's absolutely getting worse. So I wanted to share that with you. Frank, you mind if we spend a couple minutes talking about some of these seminars that we've got?
Not at all. But, you're talking about this violence in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a company that I came across that sells smart rifles where it can turn really anybody into a one-shot crack shot. It calculates the wind speed, the distance. You can even download the kill on your iPhone app. And it's got a HUD and head-up display in it. The bullet won't go off until the red dot's on the trigger, just like you would in a fighter plane. And maybe this is something, if people need to conserve ammunition, this is probably something people should take a look at. Completely automated.
You mentioned conserving ammunition. We have at the Expo a seminar on laser tactical, practical, a practice system. So if you want to conserve ammunition, we'll teach you how to do it, and you can practice without live ammunition. So that is one of the seminars that we're delighted to offer. And, ammunition really is a big deal. And why is it in such short supply? I really believe that it's because our government has bought so much of it. It has put a hardship on us to buy any for ourselves. And by the way, do they do good things with ammunition? I think they're in the business of killing people. We look at governments and we think, yeah, these guys are our friends. I don't think so. I don't think they are our friends. If they were our friends, they wouldn't be spying on every phone call we make. They wouldn't be reading every one of our emails. They wouldn't be recording this broadcast and every other broadcast in perpetuity. They wouldn't be mining data. They wouldn't be tracking our purchases with our credit cards. They wouldn't be following us around with our smartphones with GPS and tracking where we're going. They wouldn't be doing that. They wouldn't be auditing us with IRS audits. And as a matter of fact, Frank, we're going to do something that's never been done before, ever, at the Get Prepared Expo. I called Chief. By the way, class, I'm a Native American medicine man. I've been adopted by Nemenhah, a congregation of Native American or indigenous peoples, and I am a medicine man now. Dr. Shealy is, Chief Cloud Piler is, and we have some of our other instructors who are medicine men and medicine women. And here's what we're going to do at the Expo. At the Friday night survival banquet dinner, that's where at 6 o'clock we get together and we introduce ourselves. So I'll be introducing myself to all the instructors and the guests and the exhibitors. I'll be the master of ceremonies at this, and each of our instructors will be coming up to the microphone and introducing him and herself. But as soon as I introduce myself, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to introduce Chief Cloud Piler of Nemenhah. And we are going to ask for a show of hands as to how many of us would like to consecrate the convention as sacred. Now, if we agree to do that, if the majority agrees to do that, then he will consecrate the convention, the Get Prepared Expo, as sacred. And if it is, that means that if someone from the government wants to set foot on the property, they may apply to do that. They will fill out the request to set foot on the property, and we'll review it, and we'll consider their request. Think about that. Pretty cool, huh, Frank?
Absolutely.
Now, isn't that what happens? Isn't that what happens in a government office? It's no different. It's their rules. Okay? When you go into a government office, you don't say, give me such and such. It's, may I please have, and you fill out the appropriate forms that they make you fill out, and then you sign them, and then you're requesting something from them. It's a request from you to the government, right? Well, we're doing the same thing. If they want to set foot on the grounds where the Get Prepared Expo is being held, they may request permission to do that, and we will review it as quickly as we can get to it. So, Frank, are we out of control? I don't think so. I don't think so. If at the at the survival banquet dinner, now it's kind of a stretch. Seriously, it's paper plates, plastic tools, and we're going to serve a beef entree and a chicken entree, vegetables, and freeze-dry guy astronaut ice cream. $8. We're not making any money on this. We're absolutely not. It's what it would cost if you went to McDonald's for dinner. And so that's what we're going to do. There's going to be about 300 of us, and we're going to introduce ourselves, and so you'll get a chance to see firsthand the faces behind the voices that you hear on the radio. And the guests are certainly welcome, and we can accommodate up to about 300 for dinner. And that's Friday night at 6 o'clock. That's July 19th, and also Saturday night at 6 o'clock. So those are some really neat events that we have. So you'll be able to sit down with your favorite instructors and have dinner with them and meet them, and it's a great opportunity. It really is, and it will be held at the Get Prepared Expo at the Convention Center, the Cowan Civic Center. Frank, isn't that neat having the opportunity to meet your fellow instructors?
Well, the meetup that I went to on the last go-around was very exciting, very informative, and it's amazing how people can show up as strangers, and then next thing you know, everyone's talking like they're friends. So you bring a very good group of people together.
And I made this claim that I believe that when people come to the Get Prepared Expo, whether they're an exhibitor or whether they're an instructor or whether they're a guest, that it will be one of their life's 10 most memorable events. I really believe that's true. And if it's not true, I'll give you your money back. I really will. And I'll be delighted to do it. I'll actually be shocked. I will be shocked if someone says that, it really wasn't, meeting those instructors, that was no big deal. Really? These guys, I mean, there are people who would love to have an appointment with Dr. Norman Shealy, but they can't get one because he doesn't practice anymore. There are people who would love to get an appointment with Dr. Julie Pennick. She's only available about 7 hours a week. So these are people that are just very, very, very difficult to meet with, and you'll have access to them for a weekend, entire weekend. Frank, the freeze-dry guy food is really a neat event. Patrick Vickers, Dr. Patrick Vickers, is coming from Mexico, and he's going to spend several days with us. He's going to be at the farm. He's going to be at the expo for 3 days. He will be doing 4 seminars on the Gerson cancer therapy, the science, the technology, how it works, and there are a lot of people who are very interested in that. Almost every family has cancer. It's very, very sad. And Dr. Julie Pennick is going to talk about why almost every family has cancer. And it's the toxins, it's the poisons, and she's going to talk about detoxification and what to do about it. One of our instructors, Alan Busick, he's going to be doing a seminar on preparedness and survival for beginners. He was on Doomsday Preppers. You've seen him. I think it was the first week in December last year. He was on Doomsday Preppers talking about aquaponics. Allen. And he'll be talking about preparedness and survival for beginners. John Moore is going to be talking about violent climate change. Are you considering relocating? Well, if you are, he'll talk about where it might be safer for you to relocate. Sam Bushman's going to be with us, and he is going to do a seminar on he who owns the media makes the rules. And it's absolutely true. We'll be talking about the Velvet Hammer. We'll be talking about how some of us have been hit with the Velvet Hammer. Great seminar. Frank Underhill and I are going to talk a little bit more about the expo. We'll tell you about Richard Mack. He'll be there. Richard Mack's going to be at the Get Prepared Expo for 3 days. We'll be right back. Frank Underhill's with us. UnderhillSecurities.com. UnderhillSecurities.com. Frank Underhill was a close friend of Bob Chapman's. And he and Bob consulted daily. And they talked about where the market was going. And Frank did a lot of research for Bob Chapman. I certainly miss Bob Chapman. I know you do too, don't you, Frank?
I certainly do. I think that if Bob were here today, he would just simply be saying, buy more, we'll get these shorts, naked shorting. He would say this is the time to buy, not to sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got to agree. Frank, we decided to do a fun seminar at the expo. And do you eat salsa?
It depends. Sometimes if it's at someone's house and they're having a get-together, chips and salsas, yes. But
yeah, okay.
I wouldn't buy it myself. But
well, we're gonna, we teach a couple seminars on survival gardening and high yield gardening and how to save seeds. And of course, if you do that, and if you do have high yield gardening, you'll have more tomatoes and more peppers than you can stand. And we do here at the farm. So Chef Willie Kemp is coming up from Texas, and he's going to teach us the 10 things that you absolutely must do to make perfect salsa. So that's a fun seminar, kind of a little out of the realm of survival, but we wanted to add some fun to the seriousness of the Get Prepared Expo. So Chef Willie Kemp's going to be with us, and he's going to be teaching us the 10 things that you absolutely must do to make perfect salsa. John Reagan's going to be with us. You've heard him on the air, and John Reagan teaches a class on the financial state of the union, why we absolutely, positively cannot get out of this mess that the government and the Federal Reserve have created for us, how our politicians have sold us down the river, and how there's absolutely no way we're going to get out of this without a collapse. And John has mathematically proven it. He's scientifically proven it. And it's going to happen. We are going to have a collapse, which is why you should be in physical assets, precious metals. And he'll be doing a seminar on the financial state of the union. You'll be able to get his autograph if you want. As a matter of fact, I can get any of the autographs from any of our faculty. They'll be glad to do it. Preventive and emergency dentistry. Our good friend, Dr. Howard Shayne, dentist, will be doing his front page award-winning seminar at the expo. He's been on the front page of the newspaper in Springfield because of his emergency dentistry seminar. They thought he was going to go in and say, okay, you need these vice grips, and that'll get you through the problem. He does a fabulous seminar on emergency dentistry. His practice is called Fox Grape Family Dentistry in Springfield, Missouri. He has 6 operatories. If you need a tooth, he can make one right then and there in his office. He's got the computerized equipment to make teeth. Absolutely brilliant man, Dr. Howard Shayne. We've got a seminar on how to buy your very first farm. That's going to be fun. So a lot of people are thinking about relocating, and they need to know, what do you look for when you buy a farm? It's different. It's different from buying a neighborhood property. Mike Knox is going to be with us. He's going to be talking about saving seeds, and he's going to be giving away 1,000 packets of our favorite seeds. Vinny's favorite seeds. 1,000 packets are going to be given away. 500 to the first 500 on Saturday, and then again 500 to the first who arrive on Sunday at the Get Prepared Expo. Vinny's favorite seeds, and you'll be able to pick which ones you want of Vinny's favorites. He's been doing it since the very first expo. This is his 6th expo with us, our 6th expo. He's given away probably 10,000 packets of seeds. And he's going to keep doing it. It's pretty neat. We're going to have some LED lighting, emergency lighting, and we're going to talk about 7 survival trade skills that you should have. And you can even use those to start your own business. Frank, what are your thoughts on what we're up to with this expo?
Well, everybody should be prepared, and knowledge is power. Please attend.
Yeah, knowledge is power. Frank Underhill, he's with us every Monday. UnderhillSecurities.com. If you'd like to get his newsletter, go to the website, usaprepares.com. Under the instructors, click on Frank Underhill, take you right to his website, and he'll get you the newsletter. Frank Underhill, thank you so much for being with us. Class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you. If only the politicians would follow our lead, we'd be in good shape.